You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Okay, welcome to the Village of Walton Falls monthly regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees. Today's Wednesday, October 9th. Can you please stand for the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Miss Betty Sienna, a lifelong resident of the village, passed last month. Her family owned and operated Marie's Bakery for several decades. It was located in the corner of Reservoir Place and East Main. Thank you.
Thank you.
We would, at this moment, like to recognize one of our water plant employees, John Kozak, for the work that he's done along with others in the safety department that we are in. John's in part a member, I'm in it, Heather McCormick, Jeanette Williams. While in his duties and working, he attends every year the annual conference, safety conference with PERMA, our comp carrier. And while there, he was able to secure a grant for some very, very helpful equipment for our DPW. I had them over there to look at this, for example. You can see it. This is a very strong magnet that picks up manhole covers. And this is very, very helpful, and it's not only makes it easier to do it, but it saves manpower where people could possibly get hurt lifting up manhole covers like that. He also secured multiple signs and safety vests and things like that. Totally costing, if we were to, taxpayers were to go out and pay for those items, it'd be in excess of $3,500. So special thanks to John Kozak for doing that and the safety team.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call. Mayor Huber.
Present.
Trustee Nicholas.
Here.
Trustee Tilisak.
Here.
Trustee Mosh.
Present.
Trustee Marshall.
Here.
Trustee Ruffin.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Village Attorney Lindars.
Here.
Can I have action on minutes? Regular village board meeting minutes, September 11, 24.
You get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Special meeting board minutes, September 25th, 24.
Get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I was not at that meeting, so just for that reason, I'll abstain, okay?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Authorization to pay bills as per approved warrants.
Get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Pay bills.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Can I have a motion to open a public hearing for the purpose of a local law, proposed local law 2, creating a new article number 8, parking and traffic regulations on private property. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mike, did you want to talk a little bit about this?
So we were at a dilemma. This was a parking law to help, I don't know how to exactly phrase this, in enforcing right-of-way. Go ahead.
All right, there was a constituent concern that was occurring, and the police were unable to really aid or assist because they are, the issue was
It's private
happening on
property.
private property. And so the officers cannot enforce the law on private property without a local law authorizing them to do so. The request was made of this board to address the situation. We drafted the local law. It's been drafted, it's been published, it's out on the website for everyone to view. And this is the public hearing on that. If anybody has comments, they can speak to it.
Can I ask a question? Is this gonna cover, Hannaford?
No, it will only cover the one property.
Best file.
It's
Yeah.
Best Tile, we're doing this for Pat Cardini,
For that plaza, yes.
yes. And does Pat Cardini own the property? No. So I don't understand why we're doing it for one, and we're gonna have Home Depot, and we're gonna have Hannaford's coming next. Either put them all out there, or we don't do nothing.
Actually, Bobby, I like the way that you think, and Attorney Linders and I have discussed that, just so you're aware, and Attorney Linders has recommended reaching out to all these properties and asking them if they would assist the Village of Wappingers Falls in enforcing those properties, but we were asked by Attorney Linders to get a letter of permission allowing us to do so. And if you'd like to work on that, that would be great, actually. We'd have to reach out to every property owner requesting written permission.
Well, I just
That was in the
think
emails
if you
that I
do for
wrote
one,
back
you
in
can do for all.
July.
You know,
The law requires
we're
that,
doing it to satisfy Pat Cardini. Unless he owns the property, I don't understand. He had a truck problem, we fixed it. Now he wants us to go in and write tickets on a private entity, and I don't understand it. But yet, we can't go to Home Depot, we can't go to Hannaford, you know. I don't understand it.
Andrea Galletti, the operator of that property, had also reached out to us and the mayor requesting that the village intervene because of unsafe road conditions and right-of-way conditions on the property. So the village answered.
We spent 2 hours.
I have the letter from her, I know.
Yeah,
But I'm just warning you, it's got, somebody else is gonna.
I'm not gonna disagree.
Not disagreeing with you there either. The amount of
If they-
traffic,
If they come on, then we're gonna need the time to sit down and do it for them then. You know, that's all.
Let's do it.
I just wanna make everybody aware of what's.
All right. Charlie?
Charles Ferry, 20 Park Street. I don't understand this law. You're gonna go on private property and write tickets for anything other than handicap parking and fire zones? It expands that?
it will allow them to enforce any local ordinance, vehicle and traffic and parking.
So, I don't understand what the benefit of this law is, because you could already, so they could enforce the parking lot, if somebody parks where it says customer, I mean,
her,
Failure to
her,
make a traffic device, they could failure
Yeah.
to make
her site
improper
plan.
turns.
Her site plan, though.
Site
This
plan
was
violation.
something that the property owner applied for a site plan, and let's say they have like a no parking zone or fire zone or whatever zone or unloading zone or traffic flow. So that was Pat's particular issue, is that the third-party agencies to Dollar Tree, as I understand it, were coming in the wrong way. They were pretty much jackknifing their trucks on his property, and our building inspector wasn't able to successfully cite them through some loopholes because it was a third-party agency. So it's also a very unsafe condition to have trucks tipping over on this man's lawn. So he came in numerous times with numerous pictures, so the village is just taking action based on it.
Can I intervene for 1 second?
Yes,
When that
sir.
was happening, I went out and spoke to her and took her out there. The Dollar Tree store guy was delivering.
Mm-hmm.
When he got done, I made him hug the fence and go out into the mud and then go out to Route 9 to that road and make a left. So he went out. I asked the woman to do me a favor. It's the same thing as I worked as an engineer and with Teamsters. they get into a rut and they stick there in that same rut, and that's what they're gonna follow. So I asked her to have the corporate, their corporation to blacktop all the way to the fence. Ever since we did that, the mayor and I sat in my truck,
Yeah,
Jason, for 2 hours, and everything worked fine. There's been no more complaints from Pat, but now Pat wants us to go on this property and give tickets. And you know what? I don't care, but we should do it for everybody, like Home Depot, we should be doing it for Hannaford's. If you're gonna do
I'm
it,
going to disagree, Bob, because I think,
I don't
I
wanna
don't
do
think
it at
our
all.
officers should be going on private property and enforcing traffic laws.
Yeah,
You know what, every time you have a traffic stop, there's a potential for somebody's gonna run, somebody's gonna fight with the officer, or whatever. And we end up in a lawsuit, why? Because Pat Cardine doesn't want to work there? It's the property owner's responsibility to take care of that problem.
Yeah,
I don't think the village should be doing it.
I'm
So
with
the
you.
law requires that there's a request from the person in charge of the property, which there was in this case. That was presented to the board, the board chose to proceed on the law. There was a vote taken to draft.
Well, but this is a hearing on that law, they haven't voted on it.
correct.
So I'm just stating, that I'm asking the board not to. I think it's like someone said, I think it was Bobby, that this is gonna open up now, what are we patrolling Home Depot and everything else? I don't think our police officers right now have enough officers to patrol our streets the way we want. And you're gonna have Pat Cardine calling you next and saying like, there's a truck, come enforce it, where's the cops, they're not here. It's like to do all this work because one person has a problem. The exit at the back of that lot is in the village code as no right turn. That's the only thing that needs to be enforced, because when they make the right, they go on his property. That law is already there.
So I think that's what they were looking for, was where you can't make a right turn, or you can't go in the wrong, where they were going in the wrong way, so they were driving in or backing in the wrong way when they should be going in front of the building and round to the back and
I
coming
think
back.
from the village side of it, from Sierra Avenue, you can still enforce
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't enforce it back on the property.
See,
on the property.
so I think so those signs are on that property, so I think that's what we were looking to do, to enforce those signs that are on Mizzier itself, that are on that property, not so much to go, not so much to go inside.
See, Best Tile owns the whole thing. They spent $15,000 blacktopping and restriping, and so far we haven't heard from Pat Cardini at all. So I think we took care of the problem. Now we're going on to this here. I think
So I
it's-
think that there's a lot of other things that could be worked on other than this. I don't know, the amount of time that we spent on this, when we don't have rules and regulations for the parks, we don't have anything for the boathouse to make money for the village over that, or it's just the parks. And we're working on one person's problem that is overkill and an overreach in the police department. That's just my opinion.
There were other things that Andrea Galetti brought to our attention, so that it's a concrete kind of landing pad that's next to the side of the building, next to Dumplings. And she had sent me pictures and notified me, and then I passed it along to the other board members, that residents were parking there, and my gut reaction is to tell her to have them towed. And, she says, well, just exactly what you said. When she would confront people, just as you mentioned, they would, these individuals that are not necessarily exercising the best of judgment, they argue with officers. So in the same way, they would argue with Andrea Galetti. And she's just like, I can't be out there, I can't enforce the trucks 24/7, it's great to be out there for 2 hours, I don't want to argue with people. We're getting a lot of city people in the area, I'm sure we've all noticed that. They're used to just doing, I guess, the same driving they do in the city, and it's not appropriate for our community. At least I don't think so, that's my personal opinion. So,
You're taking a property owner's problem and making it our problem. If she doesn't like people parking in that space there, put a flower pot there, put a fence there. There's more she can do than call up, I don't want to deal with it, you guys deal with it. Hey, the people are arguing with me, let them argue with the cops. That's what I'm talking about. It's their problem.
I agree with you to a point until one of those kids that's a village resident is going by and somebody hits the kid, and it's just unsafe.
Yeah, but hits the kid, what, pulling out?
Yeah, because you have to
That
park in that
falls-
pad,
that
you have to
falls-
go you gotta cross over traffic flow, you have to go the wrong way.
Since we sat there and had that done and they paved it, there hasn't been one call from Pat Cardini. I was there today talking to him.
Well,
He's just concerned about going in and giving tickets to the people that park in a handicap, the people that park in the fire lane, the people that park over in the bowling alley. We can't control every, it'd be nice, I'd like to, but you know, if you're gonna put it out there for one, put it out for all.
as a trustee, Bobby, you have a vote. After the public hearing, if it comes to a vote, you have a vote. You can vote no. If you think that it's better for the community, then vote no.
What does, I'm not gonna, what does it have to do for Hannaford's or Home Depot?
What it
I
ha,
don't care, I haven't gone up there in 30 years, I'm not doing it.
yeah, but the point, here's my point, you're doing it for one plaza, you have to do it for them all.
But what can't you not do for Home Depot, and this is what I wanna know.
You would need permission. Home Depot would have to write a letter to the village asking for permission to come over and patrol their parking lot.
So village funds are gonna go to pay for a parking lot to be patrolled. Home Depot, somebody's parked in the loading zone, property's going for it.
So then we
And
have
so
to
they're not in the
pay.
village, now they're out there. And we have a lot of businesses in the village that
Correct.
say they want this.
Anybody else?
Can I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Who was it?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Closed.
Resolution number 3024, 2024, resolution adopting local law 2 of the year 2024, creating a new Article 8 entitled Parking and Traffic Regulations on Private Property under Chapter 143. Roll call vote.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Who's that, Mike?
Mike?
Trustee Marsh.
Aye.
Trustee Tilisak. Aye. Trustee Ruffin.
Aye.
Trustee Smith.
No.
Trustee Nicholas.
Aye.
Trustee Marshall.
Nay.
Mayor Huber.
Abstain.
Carried. Four ayes, 2 nays, 1 abstention. Carried. Resolution 3124 of 2024, resolution introducing a local law repealing Chapter 143 of the Village Code and setting a public hearing. When would the board like to schedule a public hearing?
I would like to make a motion to table that. We ran into some issues with the local law. So I'd like to table that to the next meeting, and we can have that ready for introduction at that time.
But just tell the public why, because the current law references all these other sections. It's just, it was put together in a very piecemeal fashion, and we don't want to miss anything. So we want to make sure that it's right, so that we don't have to pass a law and then discover, 2 months down the road that we missed a section or.
When you amended, in amending this law, Article 5 of Chapter 143 is the schedules. Schedules set forth every single violation in the town. And the violations make references to other, there's all cross-references to other sections within the code. By amending the code, every one of them was altered. So we essentially had to redraft the entire code, which delayed us for a couple days getting all of that prepared. And we want to double check, cross-reference every single one of them to make sure everything is accurate, because it was a formatting nightmare, essentially is what's happened. So it was not ready for this meeting, it'll be ready for next meeting.
Does anybody know where 54th Street is? This was a joke between Attorney Linders and I. Anybody know where 54th Street is in the village? The current code references parking regulations on Market Street between Franklin and 54th Street. Like, these roads don't even exist.
There's a number of typos and errors within the code, and we're trying to clean it up. So it's a pretty comprehensive overhaul of the law, so.
So if anybody knows where 54th Street is, please email me, mruffin@wapagersfalls.ny.gov, so I can.
So if we,
A miracle on 54th Street, yes.
can we make this meeting for, October 30th?
I'd say absolutely.
Does that work for everybody?
Can I have a motion to reschedule the public hearing, the introduction?
Well, we're just
of the
gonna
public-
table the resolution. It's a motion to table the resolution to October
October 30th,
30th.
6 PM. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Jenkins, Millennium Strategies will address the board at the request of the Water Board, trustee Marsh.
Is everybody tonight?
Good.
I also don't know where 54th Street is, so just a quick note there. Trustee Mosh asked me to attend, give you a brief overview of Millennium Strategies. I am Dave Jenkins, I'm the Director of New York Operations for the company. We are a grant research, writing, and administration company. We work only with local governments, wide range, anywhere from a couple thousand people all the way up to the city of Kansas City. Most of our clients are in the Hudson Valley, so we have roughly 40 local governments in the area, in the region that we work with, and a handful on Long Island in my office. Our office is in Nanuet. Our job is to identify federal, state, and foundation-based grant funding that may or may not suit the needs of our clients. We go through a initial phase of getting to know your priority projects, getting to know what your financial needs are at this time, and then work through your staff to identify opportunities on a weekly basis. We go through federal, state, foundation-based grants. Our research department takes anywhere from 20 to 30 pages of guidance and puts it into 1 or 2 pages where it can be easily understood. And you can garner whether or not you're interested in a particular program. If you are interested, you're welcome to reach out to me and my staff, talk through the grant opportunity, determine if it's the right fit for the project idea. We would provide a proposal for that project alone, and then follow through with the application start to finish. At the outset of the writing process, we identify exactly what we can't do on our own, so that may be a board resolution, we can't have in that regard. Financial documents, certifications, things like that. Make sure that you understand what those are at the beginning of the process, so we're not dealing with it a few days before deadline, and write the application in full. We always send it to clients for review prior to submission, and edits can be made. Certainly, we're not pushing forward the product on behalf of the village or the community that we're working with without approval. From there, we do have a system that can track the status of all of those applications. You may use us for one application throughout the course of the year. You may use us for a dozen or more. That's all dependent on what the community's needs are. And we are trying to benefit all of the departments for the local governments that we work with. That includes police, fire, water, sewer, transportation-related needs, parks, recreation programs, senior programs. We try to be a one-size-fits-all company that can benefit all of your different needs. So that's a brief overview of us. There's 8 members of my team in the Nanuet office, and I'm happy to answer any questions the village might have. Whether or not you've looked at grant writing in the past, I'm not sure, but we'd be happy to obviously talk further and go from there.
Okay, the only thing that I wanted to make everybody aware of is that we use them on an as-needed basis. We don't have to sign a long-term contract with them, so we're not tied to them and obligated at all times. We are definitely gonna give it a shot and give you a try. I would feel that it's necessary. Of course, I gotta get an agreement with everybody, but we'll take a look at what's going on and we'll go from there. And I appreciate what you've explained to everybody. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
Dave, do you get a flat fee, or you go after the grant? If you get us the grant, then you get paid?
So you are essentially paying us for the application development.
So, yeah. So
We
you put the
provide you a quote, flat fee for the project. incorporating the number of hours we anticipate spending.
If we get it or not.
There's no contingency. If we get you $10 million award, that's your award. We do not get any percentage in any way. There are days that would be nice, but it's unethical, and it's not how we structure the business. You're paying us to find and procure the funding for you. Put you in the best position you can be to get it work.
You said there are a number of communities in the Hudson Valley that you deal with. Can you provide us with the names of maybe some contact people at those locations?
Absolutely. I can provide you with the full client list as well as references.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I have a question. Are we allowed to have questions? Wait till the end?
Went to the end.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Call of election. Resolution by the Village Board of Trustees.
Yeah,
You want it?
that was funny. But I wasn't.
We done? Ready?
Yep.
Call of election. Resolution by the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Wappingers Falls, New York as follows. Section 1. That pursuant to Section 504 of the election law, the general village election of and for said village will be held the 18th day of March 2025, and that the polls shall be open for voting between the hours of 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. Section 2. That the said village has been divided into 3 election wards, and that a description of said wards, together with the polling place for each such ward, is as follows. Election Ward 1, all that portion of said village lying north and west of the Wappinger Creek. The polling place for Ward 1 is the Village Hall, 2582 South Avenue, this room. Election Ward Number 2. Election Ward Number 2 is comprised of all that portion of said village generally bounded as follows. On the south by the village boundary line, on the north by East Main Street, on the east by South Avenue, and on the west by the Wappinger Creek. And the polling place is Village Hall, this room. Election Ward Number 3, all that portion of the village lying outside the 2 wards that were above described. The polling place is here at the Village Hall. Section 4. This resolution shall take place immediately. Can I have a motion?
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. I need an approval for a resolution designating offices to be filled at the general election. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Wappingers Falls, New York as follows. Section 1. That pursuant to the subdivision, Section 15, 104 of the election law, the board does hereby designate the offices to be filled at the general village election on March 18th, 2025, and the respective terms of such offices are as follows. Office, Mayor, 2 years. Office, Trustee, First Ward, 2 years. Office, Trustee, Second Ward, 2 years. Trustee, Third Ward, term 2 years. Can I have a motion to accept that resolution designating offices to be filled?
I'll make,
The motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Curfew. By executive order of the mayor of the Village of Wappingers Falls, please be advised that during the evening hours of October 30th, 2024 through November 1st, 2024, between the hours of 9 p.m. and 5 p.m. the following day, it shall be unlawful for any minor to congregate, loiter, wander, remain, or play in, upon any public place, public park, public area, street, road, or highway in the village. The terms remain and loiter mean linger or stay, fail to leave premises when requested to do so by a police officer, owner, operator, or other person in control of the premises. B, minor means under the age of 18.
We get a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay, next on the agenda, approval to accept the resignation of Police Commissioner Calabrese.
Get a motion?
I will make the motion to accept Commissioner Calabrese's resignation.
That was Mike.
Thank you, sir, for your duty
And
to
who
the
seconded
Village of
that?
Wappingers
I'll
Falls.
second.
All in favor?
At this point, I'd like to read something from the Mayor and Board of Trustees being presented to Carl Calabrese. Village of Wappingers Falls, whereas Commissioner Carl Calabrese has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of the residents of the Village of Wappingers Falls through his dedicated service in law enforcement, using his extensive knowledge and experience to protect our community. And whereas Commissioner Calabrese's exceptional ability to balance the needs of public safety with the demands of time management and budgetary constraints has ensured the efficient and responsible allocation of resources while upholding the health and safety of both residents and visitors to the village. And whereas Commissioner Calabrese, with his steadfast leadership and integrity, has returned to assist the Village of Wappingers Falls during a time of need, bringing his expertise and tireless efforts to enhance the safety of the place many call home. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Wappingers Falls, on behalf of its residents, extends its heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to the Commissioner Carl Calabrese for his selfless service and dedication to the community. And be it further resolved that this proclamation be signed and presented to Commissioner Calabrese by Mayor Kevin Huber on this day, 9 October 2024, as a token of our deep respect and recognition of his contributions to the Village of Wappingers Falls. Thank you, Carl. Okay, approval to hire Dave Fishers as the new police commissioner.
I'll make that motion.
Robert Marshall,
Yes, sir.
can I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Who was that, Joe?
Walt.
Just a quick question. I was under the impression there would be a resolution with a contract and details.
Lori didn't type one up right away.
It's it's your appointment, right?
Approval 30-day advance notice
We gotta
for,
pass it first.
Or you gotta pass, you gotta take a vote.
We gotta vote on it.
oh,
So we can get a resolution by the 30th,
All right.
contingent upon a resolution.
Sure, yeah, that works.
That work?
Shouldn't that resolution include the salary?
Salary and everything.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll have it by the 30th, contingent upon. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You just said salary.
Excuse me?
Salary will be $35,000.
The salary, well, that'll be,
In the resolution.
it'll be,
Correct.
It's everything.
100% correct.
this is a motion to approve it. There'll be, on the 30th, the next meeting, there will be a resolution. This is the approval of the action. Contingent upon the approval of the resolution.
Is he higher than that?
So they're basically gonna tell you,
We just have to write it up legally.
You're gonna introduce?
okay.
Apparently, they did not have the resolution ready for tonight, is what I'm
Do we want
understanding.
to introduce the gentleman?
Yes, can we introduce to the
Sure.
community, Mr. Dave Fisher?
Good evening, Mayor, trustee, family, friends, and members of the community. As some of you may not know me, I've been asked to speak today briefly to summarize my background, training, and experiences. First and foremost, my name is Dave Fisher, and I'm honored to stand before you as, hopefully, your newly appointed police commissioner. Having lived in the Dutchess County area for over 40 years and still reside there with my 3 daughters and my wife, I'm deeply committed to the safety and well-being of this community. Now a bit about my background. I've served as a police officer for 28 years, including 22 years as a police supervisor, before retiring in 2022. During that time, I spent 16 years on the SWAT team with Greenberg. 11 of those years, I was a sniper team leader. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of training with some of the top experts in their field, including the NYPD, LAPD, U.S. Special Forces, Delta Force, British SAS, and the Israeli Defense Force, just to name a few. I hold numerous certifications and instructor titles in New York State with the FBI, the DEA, and the NTOA. To keep this brief, I'll summarize the rest of my training by just stating that I have an additional 4,500 hours of advanced police training in various disciplines. During my time in service, I've had the honor of receiving some of the highest awards a police officer can receive. Following a 2019 incident where 3 officers were shot and over 130 rounds were exchanged with a wanted murder suspect, I was awarded 2 Medal of Honors, a Police Combat Cross, and the FBI Award for Meritorious Service. While these honors are a personal testament to my dedication, I've always measured my success by the accomplishment of those under my command. As I accept this position as Police Commissioner, I recognize there are challenges ahead, but I believe by learning from the past and focusing on the future, together we can guide the department in the path that best serves this community. And we will achieve this through professionalism, transparency, and accountability. In the coming weeks, I plan to meet with each of the board members and every officer to work towards achieving these goals. I also invite the community to reach out to me directly and with any concerns or issues that they may have, and we can see that they also are addressed. I'm eager to bring my proven leadership, strategic vision, and passion for training to advance the department's mission and foster a safe and cohesive environment for all residents. Once again, thank you to the mayor, to the board, and to the community for this opportunity, and look forward to closely working with all of you as we move this department into a positive direction. Thank you.
Question, Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
One of the major points that we spoke about was one of the 4 types of police enforcement, which was community policing, right?
Correct.
Now, you said you would love to entertain any questions, any and all questions from the community. How may they reach you?
They can reach me directly through the police department. Just contact them at April 5-297-1011, or stop in there any day, and we can make an appointment and sit down together. Okay?
And you do live, what, 15
I live
minutes
about,
away?
10-15 minutes away.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm sorry?
First place, you're accepting it, right?
I do accept. Thank you.
Well, I figured you were, but I wanted to hear.
Okay, Dave, welcome on board.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Good family. Fresh air. We need.
Okay, moving along. Approval 30-day advance notice, day and night lounge. They have a new application on premises for alcohol beverage license, and Brian Murphy is okay with the request.
Get a motion?
I will make the motion to, consistent with Brian Murphy, our building inspector's request.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Who seconded it?
John.
So he made the motion.
Mike. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Approval 30-day advance notice, Ishadu. New application, on-premise alcohol beverage license. Brian, the building inspector, is okay with that.
Get a motion?
I'll make that motion. I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approval 30-day advance notice, Local Garibaldi. New application on-premise alcohol beverage license. Brian is okay with the request.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Trustee Telishack requests the addition of Paul Cayucito to the Village Recreation Committee.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Discussion Assistant Fire Chief Car 3.
So talking with the fire chief, and he's brought to my attention with the fire chief, car 3, with the member situation we have, he feels that 3 chiefs is one too many right now, because we don't have enough members, so we're making more officers than firemen. So he would like to get rid of the 3rd car. If the board approves of it, and anybody have a discussion on it?
When would that be effective?
January 1st.
January
So,
1st.
Car 3 will finish out his term for the year.
I'll make the motion.
I will second the motion to get rid of car 3 pursuant to the fire chief's recommendation
January 1st.
as of January 1st.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That does bring up a question, though, something that I was gonna save for the fire committee. Trustee Nicholas and I had talked about the dubious procurement of a light bar and a system. Now, if we're getting rid of car 3 and we're going to send that to auction, we do need a fully functional fire chief's car, which would be car 1. So if we dispose of car 3 in auction, wouldn't we want to figure out how we're going to procure or pay for procurement of car 1's light bar and a command module? And Trustee Nicholas, I believe we spoke about that, to rip it out and send it back and then do a dance and buy it again. It's
Counterproductive.
counterproductive, yeah, good word for it. The cost to do that the village would incur would then again be more than just leaving it where it is in place. So it would be in the best interest of the village financially to approve the payment for these items at this juncture, rather than to hem and haw. So again, with paying for that, what would be suitable at this juncture?
Procurement policy, you have to follow the procurement policy.
Well, do we designate that we rip it out at this point?
No,
Yeah.
I would say, leave it in. When we sell the vehicle, put the money in the general fund, pay these 2 bills off.
He has to follow procurement policy.
If I may, I would recommend that this board discuss this particular issue, as there are legalities concerning this issue that should be discussed in in an executive session.
Okay.
Do you want to take that in executive session?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Get a
So
motion?
I will
I'll make
make
that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I do just hate to see the village waste money to rip something out and then pay to have it installed again. It just doesn't seem
We'll
logical.
talk about it in executive
Again, this
session.
should be
Yeah,
moved to
fine,
executive
fine.
session.
Okay, Mayor, did you want to talk about the modified vehicle policy?
Sure. So, in the vehicle policy, we guys gotta take out 2 items. The first item would be if an accident occurs, there's a deductible due to the fault of the driver. The driver is responsible for the cost. It was overlooked and it shouldn't have been in there, so we're gonna take that out. And then the other one, if the village insurance carrier raises a premium for the village because of an accident, and if there is a fault on our driver, the driver may be subject to reimbursing the village. So, we overlooked that one, I wanna take that out also.
We can't hear you. And what are you gonna have the person
Tap on the screen.
responsible?
It was overlooked, so we're taking it out.
So they're not gonna be responsible?
Not be responsible, yes.
Well, that's a wonderful thing.
Yep, so those 2 items are out.
Good, okay.
What,
They're volunteers.
yes.
All right.
Okay.
I've still got a question.
Was there a motion on that?
Yes,
What's in there? If they get in an accident,
it's out.
it's out.
It's out. There's no discussion. It's out. They're not paying for nothing.
Okay.
Okay,
We have to vote on that?
Yeah,
or
there-
is that just?
There needs to be a motion to amend
Vote on it?
as indicated by the mayor.
So I get a motion to
I'll make
amend?
the motion to amend that as the mayor read off.
There's a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
housekeeping, treasurer, village clerk. Motion to move money from parks, personal service, AA 7110-102, AA 7110.42, for the amount of $5,000. This is for the holiday lighting at Mizzier Park for the winter of 24-25, and will include the purchase of equipment necessary and the labor to put up and take down the decorations. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to accept that.
Can I talk to, ask the
Who
question?
made it?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask a question to the parks? Are you all right with where they're taking it from?
The only reason I'm not is I hear it, I don't believe you can transfer money from personnel line to another account, but I may be wrong in that. I'm sure somebody looked at it.
So
But
the,
now I would be fine with it because we really want
All
to
right.
tree decorated this year.
Right, no.
the
All right.
the personnel, there was no personnel this year, so that's why.
You gonna accept it, Smith?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
The second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Let me get that. Who did that? Walt?
I made the motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to thank Charlie Ferry and the Parks Committee for taking this on, getting the various estimates. You and Beth Devine, thank you very much, sir.
Good job. Motion to approve Neves Landscaping for the project for winter lighting for the 24-25 season at Mizzier Park as per the negotiated agreement. It should be noted that Neves was a successful bidder for the project.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. I have correspondence from both firehouses. William T. Garner reported the membership voted in 3 new members to active status. S.W. Johnson reported what they have an individual was elected to the company as a junior member. Can I have a motion to accept the correspondence from both houses?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I generally have statistics of what the tickets were written by the police department for the previous month, but I didn't get it.
I have it.
Who has it?
Trustee Mash.
I have it. I have the department stats for September. Okay.
All right.
We had 278 calls for service. There were 6 arrests, 62 traffic tickets were issued, 70 domestic calls, 4 larcenies, 3 criminal mischief, 23 accidents, 2 assaults, 9 burglar alarms, 25 medical calls, and 4 parking tickets. They're responding to when the ambulance go, so they follow up like they used to do. On medical calls, you have 25 medical calls. Okay, that's good. I like to do that. They used to do it, and then they got 147
All shifts are being covered, well,
at this time.
You sure?
Okay. Do you have anything else?
Okay.
Do you have anything else from the police?
Mr. Ruffin has a question here, trustee Ruffin has a question here.
The,
What are we lacking on right now?
so the PBA did reach out to police committee, so Mr. Fisher, Commissioner Fisher has his hands full. As of a week ago, there were about 44 shifts with 1 officer on that. Hopefully they can fill those shifts. So,
What we used to do in the past, if you were in a dire need, then you pulled the part-time list, and then you used to go down the part-time list, right, Jeff? And what we used to do in the past is if the dispatchers were short, we'd call a part-timer in and see if we can get them to sit in on the.
That is true.
And that's what we used to do. So, you know, if in a dire need we do too, that's so be it. But from what Mrs. Williams is saying, I think she's caught up pretty good. You know, she's working on it.
Anything else on the police commission?
That's all I have.
Finance, trustee Nicholas.
So, this year, this month, we spent about $193,000 on vouchers. We just signed them out. We've used about 48% of our budget in the first 4 months, but that's because most of it's front-end loaded. We expect those numbers to catch up. Our target is if we will meet our debt for this year. Our treasurer has started through something called New NY Class, investing some of our funds that are waiting to be paying bills, but we don't need to pay them just at the moment. We've made about $14,000 doing that. So, technology grant, most of the money's in escrow. We have bought solar radars with it, and we're gonna need to upgrade our software system in the village for some of the stuff to work. And we expect to get the list to the new police commissioner on what we can purchase through it and have him decide with however he seems to come back to the finance committee and the board on what he would like to pay with that.
Do you know where our contingency money's at?
Not specifically, I can find out.
I would like to say that the investment in that New York fund is a good deal. You get a good amount of money in return. That was a good move.
As far as I know, we haven't touched it.
Anything else on the finance, trustee Nicholas?
Nope, that's it.
Highway, trustee Telesack.
Okay, highway. The gentlemen at Highway have been busy. They have been working on the electric charging station at the Mill Street parking lot, which I believe is now complete. It's been up and running. They also repainted all the handicap parking spaces over there. They're looking right now towards seasonal maintenance and cleanup. That's going to be taking place from October 28th to November 28th. We remind people, no plastic bags, no just piling piles of leaves. They should be properly placed. They're also doing all their maintenance on the vehicles for this, the leaf sucker, I'm sure it has a more proper name, and we're also getting ready for winter. They've also been looking at some trees that are potential safety hazards and will be cut. There are some trees on Nelson Street and some in Mizzier Park. This is not an entire list, but these are potentially dangerous trees. Some of them are old, but we don't want anybody getting hurt, so they're gonna have to be working on that. Tommy has been working with us he's been working with Central Hudson and Blacktop Maintenance. There's gonna be a lot of paving going on. We know there was a lot of construction on the roads. Central Hudson's gonna be paving some of those roads, curb to curb. He's been working really hard. We're also gonna get some lines painted. It'll make some people very happy. We're gonna try and go to those areas that are in most need to work on that. In the 3rd Ward, they have been working on putting in handicapped, accessible sidewalk ramps. So they've got all of that going on. I'm going to ask Tom, you want to mention what streets are going to be paved so people know?
Yeah, we have Central Hudson's going to be starting. They're supposed to start this week, but they are going to be paving. I don't know what order they're going to go into. They're going to go into priority. They're going to do what order they want to do, but they're going to keep in contact with me so I can contact the schools for the buses and all that stuff. We'll try to stay ahead of that. But North Mizzier, right by Betts Park, is going to be paved, the main drag there. South Remsen from the post office to Prospect, a little bit past Prospect. That same area, Prospect, used to be the one-way on Sunday. That road is going to be fully paved curb to curb. Clap Avenue from Prospect to Academy. What else? And then Blacktop Maintenance, BTM is going to be doing, everybody's going to love this one, East Main, right by the police station. Yeah, you guys can cheer. I want to hear it. And then Elm Street too. The Elm Street extension with that little turn that comes over to Marinos. That one's starting to fail, so we're going to get paved on that. Like he says, we've been working on the ADA ramps. The concrete's coming to an end, so, you know, leaf season's up. We're starting to get on that. We did have a couple sewer issues where we took care of small fixes here and there, a couple clogs that took a good portion of days just to get unclogged and fixed and maintained and cleaned up and all that jazz. But
And you also have the down phone.
and then we cleaned up the
down pole.
boathouse, so that's all rated for people to stuff stuff into.
And the down pole over on Main Street.
Say it again?
The down pole. Like,
Down pole on Main Street. We're gonna get started next week possibly, on getting the barrels out of there and getting the bases out and putting junction boxes into the concrete.
And I also want to point out that guys have been looking at their equipment and seeing what, if any, excess equipment is down there that we can get rid of and bring some money into the village for equipment that we do not need or do not use. So I want to thank you for that. And I also want to point out that the Highway Committee has been meeting with Tom and John from Water about the needs. We're going to be looking to hire a new highway superintendent. We've been meeting on that matter.
I just want to add one thing. I want to thank the guys for this morning, and also the police department for, and they're still investigating it, but there was a little graffiti this morning on Market Street on the flag building.
And Anthony Hardesty.
And Anthony Hardesty, they all chipped in today, and that's the
Is there any open public speaking or?
at the end of the meeting.
At the end, thank you.
Well, thank you, trustee Tilisak, for all of that, and highway team. Fire, trustee Nicholas.
Actually, I'm not,
That would be me. So I did interface with Chief Ensign yesterday. He gave me the update for the total amount of calls in September, which was 42. The fire committee is also advised that we need to follow up as the status of our grant that applied for 13 sets of turnout gear, which is, as Mayor Huber knows, quite expensive. Other than the fire chief's recommendation to liquidate car 3, he had also wanted the board to be aware of the intent to sell the spare pumper truck. And trustee Nicholas on finance actually ran those numbers and thinks it's in the village's best interest to also auction or liquidate that vehicle. But I'll turn that over to you, trustee Nicholas.
that gets a little bit more complicated. I believe we have to have fits, it's American, a rescue vehicle, right? Right, so we need to invest money in order to be able to sell that one. Invest money in a different truck, battery-operated rescue tools or something.
Correct.
In the long run, it would work, but in the short run, we have to fork up a chunk of money first,
That's what we don't have, unfortunately.
which is what we don't have at this point.
Yeah. All right.
That it?
Okay.
Trustee Tilisak, Lake.
Nothing for Lake.
Safety, we heard about John Kozak and all he did with getting the safety equipment and the great team that we have in the village doing safety. Recreation, trustee Tilisak.
The Halloween celebration Wicked Wappingers will take place on October 19th, 12 noon. A little parade up downtown into Mizzier Park. If you are a person of faith, don't get me in trouble for this, pray no rain. But we're working on that right now, and then we'll be working on the holiday celebration for the Sunday following Thanksgiving. That's what we have for recreation at the moment.
Okay,
And we are hoping to have a float from the Recreation Department in the Town of Wappinger Parade this Saturday.
That'd be nice.
So if you're available, come on down.
hey, Mayor, anything on water?
Yes, so our lead water line inventory is just about complete. We are going to make the deadline, I think it's October 16th. We're going to make that deadline. All the paperwork will be handed in. And we're going to see where we go from there. I don't know if John has anything.
No,
Good.
want to thank some of my guys in the past and current, as well as Toshetti Associates Engineering for helping get to this step that we're achieving, which is great.
That's all for water.
Personnel.
As noted earlier, we are looking at resumes for highway superintendent. We reviewed everybody who came in last week on Friday. We'll review everyone who comes in this week. And this Friday is the close of applications. So the highway committee is referring to the personnel committee, the best people, and we'll go from there. We hope to have somebody in the works as soon as possible.
Okay. On sewer, I'm a member of the Tri-Municipal Sewer Group. There's 3 of us, and we are trying to secure a lot of money to do repairs and needed improvements at the sewer plant off of Sheaf Road. We're talking millions and millions of dollars. And we are pursuing grants, working with engineers to determine exactly what we need and how we can get the money and make those improvements. I attend a meeting there once a month. It's the second Thursday of every month, and I will be attending the meeting there tomorrow morning. I'm fairly new on that commission, so as I learn more about it, I'll be able to tell more about it. But for now, that's all I know. Okay, Mayor, that concludes the printed portion of tonight's agenda.
All right. Anything else from the board? Yeah, I'm at the board first. They have anything.
No, sir.
Anybody from the public?
You go first.
Please state your name and your address, and you have...
Ara Mori, Jenningville Road. On January 31st, I attended this meeting and talked about 2 subjects. One is the paint striping on Nelson. The other one was the crosswalk by Grinnell. I was told that the striping would have to wait till spring. Didn't have a problem with that. The crosswalk issue, Your Honor, you said you were speaking with Senator, Mr. Ellison on that. And so far, nothing's been done on that one either. I came back on August 14th because nothing was done. The next day I got a call from a trustee, said he told me the paint striping is scheduled and will be completed in September. And we're now in the second week of October, and again, no changes. The crosswalk issue is a serious one. My friend is still going through surgeries. She's the one that got hit in front of Grinnell. She's currently going through more surgeries. She has one scheduled for October 17th. You can't see anybody on that crosswalk. The person that hit her, I really don't blame him, because when you're coming down and there's a car coming up, you can't see anything because those lights are blinding you. It's ridiculous to be able to think. They need the flashing lights so people are well aware that there's somebody in the crosswalk.
I will follow up with
The one on Mill, the one on Mill Street flashes, the one on Mill Street flashes down by Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
But the one up there don't, and the one on the other end.
Correct.
You need to get them both flashed.
And the one up by St. Mary's.
Yes.
That's another one that a couple people got hit. But this one, I mean, just because she's a close friend of mine, and she's still using walkers. I mean, we're talking 8-9 months into this thing now, and she still uses a walker. She has to have a total knee replacement on that knee that got hit by the car. It's really, really bad. I'm so sorry that she went through this. But I don't know what it's going to take to get that repaired and to get the striping done, because the striping issue is the cars go down right in the center of Clinton. They don't care about the one. There's no line. You can't see anything. They're coming right down the center. And when you want to pull in off of West Main, you can't. You have to stop and wait till they either pull out, pull left, or pull right. There's no way of pulling in. People don't obey the road. If there's no stripes, the whole road is theirs. And we need to get that done before the winter, because when winter starts, you can't paint. So I'm hoping that this all can be resolved, way before Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jen?
Jennifer Nissen, 3 Farming Drive. So my question was going to be to him, is there an hourly rate for his company?
From what I understand, there's a monthly rate. In other words, they will present each month rates that are available.
I understand that.
And then we choose through those. which ones we are interested in.
But what's the scale of how much we will pay him if we want to go for a grant? We say it's September and we see 3 grants in there that we want him to go for. Does he give us an hourly rate and say, I'm going to charge you $150 per hour to work on these 3 grants? Or what's the breakdown of that?
Let me see what the
Because that can get extremely expensive.
I think this is something we're gonna look into.
You know, grants
Yeah.
can take a long time, and grant writers aren't cheap, so we all know that.
He said he would do it by a per grant charge. Now, that's not in writing, I haven't seen it.
He also said something about hourly, so, I thought I said something, or heard him say
Okay.
something. But, you know, how does he gauge a grant? Is it based on the amount of money that the grant is for? Is that how he would gauge how much?
He said it was the application, I thought, that we had to pay, right?
I understand that,
I
but
wish
is
you
every
could see
single, is every single grant gonna be the same amount of money? If you're going for a $3 million grant, or you're going for a $20,000 grant, and he has to spend 50 hours on one grant and 2 hours on the other grant, there's gotta be a way that he's charging you to break it down, whether it's hourly or.
All right, I will speak to them, and I will get you a scale of how they're gonna do it.
My other question was, you said there were 43 calls for the fire department. I believe we're doing mutual aid now. Were they all within the village, or was that just total, whether they go out of the village or in the village?
As I understood it, that was total from the fire chief, because I asked.
So that would be everything, in the village, out of the village?
It seems super low. He said September was a slow month. I can request.
Just curious,
right
you know,
now.
because I know now we're doing a mutual aid, where we have to respond to calls outside of the village.
So New Hamburg and the Village of Wapmers are on a mutual aid system together. They come into the village, and we go to them. Both departments are hurting for members, and this is a way to help each other out.
And it was 42 calls. Sorry,
42.
that's not 43.
I was just curious to know how many of them were outside of the village. If
I
you don't
know.
have that breakdown, that's fine. And the last thing I had is I just wanted to thank our police department. You had mentioned some stats. It sounds, and let's all be honest here, we know that they've been very understaffed and working this for the month of September, mostly 1 officer per shift. So with that being said, it looks like they were still very busy and did what needed to be done, so I wanted to thank them for that. I do want to welcome Mr. Fisher aboard. We've been through a lot in the last 5 months with our police department. And this isn't, for Mr. Fisher, this is for the board. I have a slight concern that there was no, and maybe I'm wrong, advertisement for this current position. There was no, I want to say interviews, postings. With all that being said, I just want to know that, I don't want to put this in a bad way, that he wasn't handpicked by somebody to take over to bring us out of a situation that we were put in this last 5 months. So I'm just hoping that everything goes in the right direction and hopeful about it, but I am concerned at the fact that those processes weren't done. Maybe Mr. Fisher would have been picked out of all that at the end anyway, but I am concerned that those processes weren't done.
Anyone else?
Anybody else?
Just 2 things on this. Not asking about, talk about, is the sidewalk on West Main Street that's been in disrepair, is extremely dangerous.
So, John,
I received a call today from our attorneys that are handling from our NISHIP, our insurance company carrier, NIMIR, that they are going to go there tomorrow morning, and they're bringing along experts to assess what happened and what it's going to take to repair it, cost-wise. I plan on being there if I'm back in time for my other meeting.
What time is it, John?
so there is,
It's 10 o'clock.
so there is a moving process going on with that sidewalk right now, and it's getting almost close to completion of what's gonna happen. So it's pretty much almost out of court, but we're just dealing with insurance companies and, yeah.
The other thing was the audit, the village here received a kind of a negative audit last December. And in that order, there was a list of things that the village should do to improve that and to get things on the up and up. And we haven't had any progress reports or anything. And I know online, last I checked, no records have still been sent to the state where we can see the finances in the village and the actual debt of the village. Those things in other municipalities are there, always haven't been updated since I think it was 2022. So, the order came in, these things are supposed to be fixed, so I'm
Yeah.
just wondering if we get a progress report or something on where we are with that.
So, New York State, auditor was called, I think it was last week, and they talked to the treasurer, and she's got everything lined up for her, so she answered a bunch of questions, so I'm sure that's part of it. So that should be fine. But I'll double check and let you know tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll give you a shout. Thanks, Charlie. Jeff? Officer Weaver?
How are you?
Good yourself.
So, yeah, I'll step back here if that's okay. So first I'd like to address Trustee Ruffin in regards to the shift coverage. We are covering every shift with every available officer that we have. That is being done on a daily basis. We do have difficulty getting officers in solely because of our responsibility pertaining to the hours that are being worked. There is an extensive amount of overtime that is being put out by the career officers. We are down to 3 career officers. Now, I've been here since 1985. That's 40 years in my math. I've held the position of station commander, detective sergeant, patrol sergeant, and detective. So I've got a fairly decent working knowledge of the department. I'd like to be the first from the PBA to welcome Dave to our department. I look forward to working with him going forward. I'd like to put the past behind us. The arguments, the accusations, the finger pointing, et cetera, needs to stop for us to move forward. With that being said, we need to develop some kind of recruiting and retention program. And that's obviously going to be dealing with salary and benefits. And I know the village is strapped for certain situations pertaining to contractual issues, but we need to come up with some kind of program to do that. Every agency in this county is begging for officers, career officers and part-timers. As far as the list, you have 7 officers available to work to cover all these shifts. And the officers that are working are doing their best to do that. So the rumors of shifts not being covered, officers not reporting to work, are false. That is not true. Our officers are in there. Officers do volunteer their time, they volunteer to stay, they're working on vehicles, they will come in on their own time, leave their other jobs. I left my other job to come here this evening, so excuse my appearance, I apologize. However, the village board needs to develop a program with the new commissioner to get us people. Work with the county. Phone calls need to be made to make available hours to the part-time officers, or you are going to lose your department because you're not going to have people to staff the department. That should be the priority. You've laid 2 officers off because the county says they cannot work a specific amount of hours. A simple phone call needs to be made to bring those 2 officers back. They were furloughed or laid off. You laid off 2 dispatchers, and now you're restricting their hours. That's absolutely absurd. Figure out a way to make it happen. With the new commissioner, hopefully we'll be able to do something. Phone calls need to be made to the county, whether it comes down from Governor Hochul, whether it comes down from our congresspeople, our legislators. We all know all these people. You mentioned Rob Rollison, former police officer, 35 years plus of service. We need to call our friends in politics to get this hour restriction lifted so that we can have officers that can work the rest of the year to protect the lives and property of people that come through this village and that residents, so they feel comfortable with our officers here. Thank you for your time.
I would like to say one thing, Jeff.
Yes.
A friend of mine's a trooper, and they're pulling people out of the academy early because they can't staff themselves.
I'm unaware of that, so.
It's, let me just tell you, and years ago, and you know I've been over there, years ago, we had it made, but then people wanted to work.
Anybody else?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Rose Danza, Dutchess Avenue. It was on a Facebook post about the stairs to the gazebo. Do you guys know about that? And is it going to be repaired?
We know all about that. Trustee Marshall went out and then has a contractor gonna give us a price on either replacing or repairing them.
Time frame?
Pete, that was Pete Winheim.
Right.
He's supposed to bring a,
Time frame.
I would say within the next 2 weeks.
Because every day goes by is another chance somebody gets hurt and we get sued.
Yeah. Well,
Are they cordoned off somehow?
Yes.
Okay.
How?
Wood and caution.
Piece of caution tape?
And wood.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was just there yesterday.
I still think a kid can compromise that if they wanted to. Kids are resilient. So I just think the sooner the better. I would hate to see that gazebo go into disrepair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
All right, Mayor, we have one thing on the agenda for executive session, Fire Chief Grant.
Can I get a motion to go on,
Grant?
no, the procurement policy of the fire chief's car?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.